everyone, welcome back for another museum story time. Can you give Albany Mouse here a big wave and say hello? Hello. Good job. So today Albany has chosen Tidy by Emily Gravett as our museum story. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that our ears are ready for story time. Can you find your ears? Oh, here are Albany's. So starting at the bottom, can you give them a little wiggle? Ooh, wiggle, wiggle. That's it. Turn them on, make sure they're listening. And then find the tops of your ears. Ooh, wiggle, wiggle. That's it. Good job. But don't forget the middle. Ooh, wiggle, wiggle. Good job. Now, can you have a big wiggle? Ooh, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Get nice and comfy. Albany, are you comfy? Oh, he says yes. So we'll sit Albany here. There he is, all ready for his story. And I hope you're sitting comfortably too. And let's start. Tidy. The badger. Deep in the forest lived a badger called Pete, who tidied and cleaned and kept everything neat. He tidied the flowers by checking each patch and snipping off any that didn't quite match. He tidied the fox by grooming his fur. He untangled each knot and each twig and each burr. He tidied the birds from the big to the small by brushing their beaks and then bathing them all. He picked up stray sticks, he swept and he rubbed, he polished the rocks and he scoured and he scrubbed. Then he is tidying. So, when a leaf fell, ooh, well. Oh dear, look at them all, they're all falling. Pete tidied up. Oh, he's put them all in bags. Oh dear, but he still wasn't happy. Now the trees looked bare and scrappy, and so, to make it all look neat, Pete undertook a mighty feat. Oh, he dug up every single tree. But then it rained, and it rained. There was a flood. Oh dear. And afterwards, a lot of mud. Oh, look at it all. Pete called in the diggers. He called in the mixers. He called in the concrete, the rakers, the fixers. No mud, no leaves, no mess, no trees. Perfectly tidy and perfectly neat. This forest is practically perfect, said Pete. Oh, look how happy he is. I'm hungry, he thought. I deserve a treat. So he hunted around for something to eat. But the beetles and worms that he usually found were under the concrete, deep in the ground. And so Pete decided to go home instead. If he couldn't have dinner, he'd go straight to bed. But when he arrived and took out his key, there wasn't a door where the door used to be. Dear. Later that night, Pete tossed and he turned. His belly was empty. It rumbled and churned. As he lay in his mixer, wide awake, he started to think, I have made a mistake. So, the very next morning, when it got light, he set about trying to put everything right. Look, he's breaking on the concrete. Then the animals came, from the strong to the weak, and they lent him a paw, or a claw, or a beak. Look at them. All the animals are helping him put the trees back. They put everything back, as it always had been, but maybe less ordered and not quite as clean. And Pete, well, he promised to tidy up less, but if he succeeded, is anyone's guess. Having a nice picnic. The end. Well, I quite like that story. I hope you liked that story too. Let's see what Albany Mouse thought. Albany, what did you think of Pete in that story? Ooh. Yes, you're right. He is a very, very tidy badger, but it's a good job he puts everything right at the end. Albany hopes you enjoyed that story too, and he hopes to see you next week for another museum story. Bye everyone!